Well, this is insanity world. We're constantly told that they want to help women. It's so overwhelmingly obvious to somebody like me. They do not want to help women. I think a lot more people need to tell these feminists that their whole feminist movement was funded by the richest men to have ever existed. The concentration of wealth and the men who funded the feminist movement is a larger percentage than ever in history. And do we think they did this to help women? Of course not. We see it with these schools. They're allowing boys, biological boys, to race against girls. And when girls speak out, it's like the girl is the bad one because she's not going to get a scholarship for something she's done her whole life. She's raced her whole life. She's done this sport, that sport, whatever sport men are allowed to be in. It's becoming a phenomenon in track because I guess a lot of transgender or transitioning men to females are like, hey, I'll join track and I'll win and all I have to do is run. It's like he doesn't have to be good at volleyball or any kind of skill. It's just run. And naturally they run faster. So naturally they take the gold, silver, and bronze, depending on how many male to female transitioning people. There was one school where there was two, and they took gold and silver each time. Just dusted the girls. Gone. And the girl's like, okay, I'm getting silver. I can't get my scholarship. This is what I've been doing forever. I was the best. Yeah, you still are. But now you're racing against men. So do they really care about men? Or women, I'm sorry? Of course not. They only cared about women when they wanted women to not raise families and become happy and do what, if they don't believe in God, if you don't believe in God, nature, Mother Nature, you can't beat her. To do what Mother Nature intended. And that's have little ones who they could love, who they could give all that motherly love. A father could give love in a different way. You know how a father gives love? By going out and allowing the mother to stay home and nurture the child, which is natural. But now they want to upset the natural order and they want the mother to go out and have to pursue some career which she may be happy with or she may not. But then all these sexual harassment lawsuits come into play. Oh, so you want to send a married woman into a field, be the only woman back in the 70s and 80s and have every man? You want to throw her into a workplace with men for 8 hours a day? Come on. We know this is going to lead to problems. We know that creep bosses are going to take advantage. We know. You'd have to be stupid. They only want women to succeed where then that displaces a man. And then that man, guess what he can't do? It's one less job that a man could have to support who? His wife, a woman, and his daughters, women, and be a good father. Now that stresses the mother out because she has to make money and you know what I mean? That just complicates things. In an already hard to get along in world. I mean, men and women have their differences. But when a man's not making money, this is just killing. And then you throw the police state at men. And now women. What's next? Baby cuffs? You know, come on. They lock up kids. Now kids. So, adolescent women are going to jail at alarming rates. Because it's just lock up everybody. Then they get in front of that judge and that judge is like, I don't give a fuck. Go to the dungeon. We have an Audi home here in Chicago. I once was a resident in. They had a floor for girls, and this was back in '01, and I'm sure they had it for 20 years by then. It was very, very disturbing to see how many people were in there, how many kids. It was a brand new build. Well, it wasn't brand new, I think it was built in the late 80s. It was about 10 years old when I got there, but it had already been run down, and dilapidated a little bit, but it was just, a structure. It was made like a maximum security penitentiary where you would not see fresh air or sunlight. There was none of that. And they had all the kids from neglected families in jail, just like us. Only difference was they had like a TV with the Nintendo. We had a TV too, on like wheels, and in like a jail dorm, but they had like a Nintendo 64 for them kids, and we'd go by on our way to court, because I was on the 4th floor with the oldest kids, like going to the county. A lot of kids for murder. They were just waiting until their birthday. Their birthday present was they got to go to the county jail, Cook County Jail, the worst county. At least a lot of people say. And back then, surely it was very, very crazy. And these 17-year-old kids would be like, "Man, I'm going to the county next week. I don't know when I'm gonna get out." They were charging a lot of people as adults. They started doing that. And in 2001, I was there, and they all the guards left, and we were in these like 50-man pods, and there was like these glass things up here, so when people walked by, they could look at each other and throw gang signs and talk shit. Well, the guards left, so all those people talking shit got to get at each other, and it was a free-for-all. I ended up in a chair fight. I smashed this kid. I'll never forget his name, Booker, 4, 5, 7 times over the head with a chair because he punched me in the mouth. Then I threw the chair at him and we started fighting again. And then the riot crew realized there was a riot in ours because they were going around like trying to put people back together. And they went from somewhere else and they saw the chair fight. And there was another fight going on simultaneously. Like, it was just, man. But this is what you're putting men in. You're taking men away from their ability to work. And the DUIs, what does that do? That ruins so many guys my age. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. I sometimes say maybe my crazy life led me to the Lord. Thank you, Lord, my crazy life didn't involve a DUI. I refuse to drive drunk. I refuse. There is no chance of me being able to support myself or my family or be any kind of help. It just really hurts your ability to take care of yourself. To get off your feet. Like they say, get off your feet. What do they mean? Maybe back standing up. Maybe back in the day, get on a horse. Maybe get in a car. You're off your feet. Get off your feet and go somewhere. Well, how are you going to do that? In Chicago, there's buses, yeah. But they are every mile. Go out to the outlying areas. The south suburbs. It's still Chicago. It's hood as fuck. It's like more country. But it's a hood. There's no buses. I mean, there are, but that's like 3 hours of your day round trip just gone on what could take you 25 minutes in a car. Not to mention, say you want to go get groceries for, your kids, blah, blah, blah. It ruins somebody's life. It used to be that all the men had to do was come up with $350 and they could buy a hoopty, an old Caprice, an old Suburban, an old Bronco, an old Oldsmobile, an old Pontiac. No. It's $350 now. It's $390 now for the plate. So they only want to help women succeed when it does something negative to society in a whole. They're trying to disrupt the natural order. For anyone to not be able to see that, you don't have to hurt men to help women. You don't have to hurt other people to help this other group of people. You don't have to take from, let's say, I don't know, what's one country, a country like Israel. You don't have to take other people's lands to help yourself. You've already, you have plenty of space. I'm just using that as an example. I don't even want to talk about that right now. But we don't have to constantly hurt others to help ourselves. But that's the only time they want to do it. It's the only time they want to pretend to care about a group of people when it comes at the expense of another. So that's my 2 cents on that. And the men they're churning out these days, this is why I fight for innocence, and I will always fight for innocence. And I will I will fight you if you are hurting somebody smaller than you and weaker, a child, a woman, an animal, any kind of cruelty. Because them boys grow up, and I'm seeing it more and more with these men. They're psycho. They're crazy. They're not complete psychopaths, but they're very, very hurt. Their hearts are hurt. They were taken advantage when they were innocent young children, young boys. They were sexually molested and abused, and they weren't loved, and they didn't have a father like I had. I went through the father thing, not having a stable life growing up with a stable, what they call it, a nuclear family. But I did have males in my life. I had something. These guys, they're hurt, man. They might have had men in their life that were their only men who to this day they're hurt so bad by this older man who sexually abused them, and then it fucked them up in the head for the rest of their life about sexuality, relationships, trust issues, shame. Men feel shame, like they don't want to be the victim. Like I think about that Milo Yiannopoulos on Joe Rogan. He said, I couldn't be the victim when that priest molested me. I liked it. I'm too big of like a predator to be prey. This is pretty much what he's doing mentally in his mind. Saying that priest didn't hurt me, I liked it. No, Milo, you've admitted that you don't like the gay lifestyle. That you wish you weren't gay. These people are hurting. It did something to them mentally, and it snapped them. A lot of homosexuals, most homosexuals do not bear kids with women. Back in the day they did, because they had a wife, but they had a homosexual lifestyle on the side. Now that they're out of the closet, they're having less kids, you know what I mean? Because they're out of the closet. No woman is going to be like, I want to be with an openly out of the closet gay man. Back then he was in the closet, she was with them. Homosexuals tend to be career orientated, so she had kids and found out he was gay later. They divorced, and the kids are all fucked up from it. Now their dad's gay. Like one example is that guy Owen Benjamin. His parents are an example of like the older crowd, that the man was gay but the woman had kids. Now they're not having kids, the homosexuals. So the only way they're reproducing or they're creating more gay people is the media. I believe the pressure of it all. Kids are susceptible. They try to make it popular. And not really so much the media, but like molestations. These kids are abused by somebody, and then it does something to them that makes them think that that's what sex is. I don't know. I don't want to delve into my, just assumptions of why this becomes true. But the prey becomes the predator. Like Milo, he couldn't allow himself to think he was the prey. So then they become. Majority of these people who go and hurt people and rape people have been hurt. I remember I was in 3rd grade. One more little story. This guy, David Herrera, he was getting molested. Not molested, like sexual. Not having sex with him. But this boy, his name was Brian. This was in 3rd grade on 64th and Fairfield at Marquette School. That was the public school. And at that time, the school was cut in half. Or we had taken the whole school. See, Chicago Public Schools took the whole school from St. Rita, because the churches was just selling it off and blah, blah, blah. So we're at the school. And all the Mexicans, there was about 33% Mexican, 66, 2/3 black, 1/3 Mexican, and me. And maybe one other white kid, but it would never be in my class. It wouldn't line up. They'd be a year older. Anyway, or a different class. And there was one other white kid who did live there the whole time with me, but he actually went to St. Rita. And his parents never let him out the house, and he became a little crazy as time went on. Like, he was an only child, and he never came out the house. It was bizarre after 2nd grade. So I lived on 6th and Cal. So this boy, Mexican, kind of heavier boy, his name was David Herrera, he was getting molested. And nobody would speak up for him. And everybody knew something was going on. And teachers were like, what the fuck's going on? And nobody would say anything. I'm looking around at all the Mexicans. I'm like, you're not going to say anything? That's your fucking Mexican guy, I'm like, fuck that. I told the teacher, I'm like, this dude keeps on touching on his ass, blah, 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 blah. After school, I had to take what was coming to me. I grabbed one kid. One black kid was willing to fight with me. Called him Antonio, I think. Or maybe my buddy George. One of the two. And we fucking rocked out. But they were ready. Him and his boy. And I think his brother. And it was just a 3-on-2 or 4-on-2 or something like that. I remember getting scraped and scratched in my head and shit, blah, blah, blah. I was a kid. But from that point in second or it was at third grade, I believe. No, it was in second grade because her name was Miss K. I had Miss Calabrese in third grade. Mrs. Calabrese, she would always talk about her family being in the mob. So Miss K was just a white lady, like straight from the suburbs, teaching in the school, but she was teaching second graders. And she was very, very, sweet, younger teacher. And second grade, man, I nope. From a young age, I'm not doing it. Something in me, from a young age, if I see that shit, I'm not having it. It wasn't happening to me, so I could muster up the courage to speak out for others. So there's these people like this guy going crazy on me online, saying all these nasty things because people are teasing him, but his whole online channel is to tease other people, Mersh, and I think he said he was abused as a child, and you see these ugly characteristics come out of them. I mentioned Owen Benjamin. Larry is this guy, Owen Benjamin's training piano teacher, and I talked to him, and he's like, yeah, man, I'm not for the whole pushing homosexuality. Like, I made my choices, man. Pushing this shit on kids ain't right. I'm like, at least that's one homosexual, call him what you will. I don't know if he's a tranny, but he was allowed to teach this boy, Owen Benjamin, whose dad is gay and who was molested by a priest, who's a comedian. That's how I know these people. And just through online, he was allowed to be alone, and you can't trust your kids alone with it. I'm sorry, you just can't. And then he gets molested by a priest. He doesn't even get molested by the tranny. But he was saying, yeah, man, it's forced tolerance for these people. So it's an insane world. We live in an upside-down, insane world, and these children have to navigate that. And then you see pictures of Desmond, whatever the kid's name is, amazing, stripping, and he's like, everybody's just haters. His mom used to be a club kid, and she wanted to be like on ecstasy in New York City. What did they call them? Like, the rich kids. They would dress up and act gay or be homosexuals a lot, and eat ecstasy and live this party lifestyle. And she got older, but she ended up having a kid, and she pushes her kid into watching RuPaul's Drag Race and all these shows. There's the media again, and now he's a full-blown tranny kid, hanging out with a convicted murderer, going like this, like it's cute, talking about like snorting lines. And it's very, very sad. These people are very sad. And is our country doomed? I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, everything's going to fucking fall apart and we're all dead. Because what do I know? I'm just a man. I think all men are stupid in a way. We all can be smart and brilliant. But at the end of the day, I've got to humble myself and say I'm a stupid man. I make mistakes. I've got to look myself in the mirror and correct those. God be with us. God be with you. God bless. I'm going through a little bit of a loss. I'm at the part where I'm at peace with it right now. There was a mourning period. Now I'm at peace. And then somebody really tried to be really rude and make fun of my loss. And that just made me more at peace with it. Like, we can't hurt. Death is part of life. And it wasn't a human. And, it really changes your perspective on things like that. Gone. People are gone. Animals are gone. And you will be gone. You will not live forever. I will not live forever. I'm going to try to be as kind as I can be. I joke around from time to time, but I will try to be more, empathetic towards others' loss, because when I had the loss, it made me think of people in my family who've lost their kids. It made me think of my brother who passed away. It made me think of all these things and how my mother, everybody. It's just so sad. It's just so sad. So, we don't have forever. I've seen countless people die at young ages. There's a heroin epidemic here. So many have died. So, it's a very sad world. It's a cruel dream. Let's try to be good to one another, and I'll try to practice what I preach. Okay, everybody. Dave Welsh, peace out.